So Trick Daddy was beefing with the AKAs, Cardi B's hair care line sold out in an hour, and Issa Rae is partnering with TikTok to change the way that we consume content online. This is the Kickback Briefing. Welcome to the Kickback with Keri podcast. I'm your host, Keri Henderson, and this is another Kickback Briefing episode where we talk about the latest wins, challenges, and stories shaping business and culture and some of the biggest lessons we can learn from them. This week in the briefing episode, we are talking about the Trick Daddy versus AKA whole situation, why it was a huge fail to book him in the first place, because I'm not understanding why he was even considered as an artist for that organization. We're talking about Cardi B launching her hair care line and why this is a great brand move for her. And we're talking about Issa Rae's partnership with TikTok and how they're changing storytelling and consuming content in a new digital way. So let's get into these stories. By now, if you are on Threads or you are in the Greek universe, you've probably heard about Trick Daddy being booked for the 73rd South Atlantic AKA Regional Conference that was held in Florida. I think by the time we record this episode, it was about 2 weeks ago. And during his performance, the regional director, she shut it all the way down. She said, "No, sir, it's a wrap." She ended his performance. And this is the reason why she says she shut everything down. According to the regional director, Tiffany Moore Russell, she said, "We met several times with him, Trick Daddy, and his team to detail our requirements, including attire, language, and specific songs. Unfortunately, our requirements were ignored. The language, lyrics, and comments made by the artist were not acceptable. I ended the performance because of the disrespect for our organization and for our brand." And as someone who is a part of D9 organization, believe me, I understand the importance of honoring your brand and the organization and everything that they stand for. So in response, Trick Daddy had his own response. It was a very colorful response, so I'm gonna sum it up for us since I can't really say what he said here. Basically, he said in so many words that you can't give him a playlist, and when you booked him, what did y'all think he was gonna perform? And that's a question I had and so many people had when we saw this headline, was like, y'all booked Trick Daddy and then you're surprised that he acts like Trick Daddy, when he really is not in alignment when you think about the AKA brand. So here are two lessons we can learn from a business standpoint. Number one, you have to know your audience. When it comes to Greek organizations, when they have conferences, conventions, even I would say any type of membership organization, right? Not just Greek organizations, most likely there is a large range in terms of age and generation. We're talking about from 20-year-olds up to 70 and 80-year-olds. So it can be challenging trying to book talent that could meet the entertainment needs of everybody, right? Everyone could enjoy while they're at a conference. However, you have to make sure in situations like this, if you're planning a conference, planning an event, you want to book somebody that will not offend your audience. When it comes to knowing your audience from a business standpoint, you want to make sure you're doing things that are not going to offend your audience. Because once you offend or alienate your audience, as we talked about in the last Briefing episode, it's really, really hard to get them back. So you don't want to find yourself in a situation that could be offensive to your audience, have them literally clutching their pearls as they were in this situation, and do anything that kind of rocks the boat with your audience, what they stand for. Which leads me to point number two lesson number two, which is you have to do your research when it comes to who you're partnering with for business. My assumption in this situation is that they probably wanted Trick Daddy to do the radio edits of some of his most popular songs. But I heard Debrat say this when this whole story came out. She said most artists do not read their contracts. That's what they have a team for. They have attorneys, they have managers. She's like, we're not reading that contract. We're gonna come, we're gonna show up, we're gonna perform and go about our business. Another thing though that stood out to me was that if you have to sit down with someone and go over the type of lyrics, go over the attire, you have to talk about the select songs that they're gonna do, they're probably not a good fit for your organization. So in this case, it was probably not a good idea if they had to do all that just to book him in the first place. And so from a business standpoint, when you're talking about investors, when you're talking about partnerships, even from like logistics, manufacturing, when you're talking about merging two businesses together, you have to do your due diligence. You have to do your research to understand who it is that you're actually working with, because one, it can cost you a lot of money, and two, it can cause you reputational harm if you are in business with someone that is not in alignment with who you are and what your brand stands for. Now, in this case, we know the AKAs are gonna be fine, y'all. Like, they are an esteemed brand. They are the part of the D9. They will be fine. Now, of course, we're gonna joke about it. Like, as a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, we would never, right? We would never do such a thing. So we gonna have a good time laughing at their expense and making fun of this whole situation. But at the end of the day, the AKAs will be fine. It'll just be something we talk about in this situation or when you're talking amongst your Greek friends. But from a business standpoint, it actually can be detrimental if you are in business with the wrong person or group of people. So that's something you want to keep in mind. So our next topic is Cardi B and her hair care line. Cardi B did a pre-sale for her hair care line last month and it sold out in an hour. The hair care line is called Grow Good and it emphasizes repair and it includes shampoo, conditioner, a hydrating mask, and a serum, priced between $14.99 and $19.99, which is a very, very good, reasonable price point. I think with this price point, she'll be able to make this hair care line accessible to so many people. It will relaunch on April 15th, so at the time of this video recording, the hair care line will come out again this week. So why does Cardi B launching a hair care line make so much sense? One of the things that annoys me is that celebrities love to put their names on stuff, right? We could see a celebrity online and they could be known for one thing. Let's say you're an actor. All we know is for acting. We've never seen your lifestyle. You never shared lifestyle content with us. You've never given us insight into any other part of your life except acting. But then all of a sudden, they're launching a hair care line, they're launching a clothing line, they're launching a wine brand, and we're just supposed to eat that up because their name is on it. And most of the time, those things are not in alignment with the personal brand that they have built online or they have built in their career. So there's misalignment. Like, it doesn't make sense. If you're only known for doing this one thing, and then all of a sudden you launch something else that's totally opposite, there's a disconnect. Cardi B is the opposite though. She has taken her fans and her audience on her hair care journey. She has not been shy about the DIY mask she's been doing, the things she's been trying at home to repair her hair from all the types of different damage, from color damage, perm damage, and we've seen her hair. She has shown us her hair is down to her waist. What I don't want to see is celebrities out here selling a hair care line and we've never seen your hair. We've only seen it in wigs and weaves. If you're going to sell a hair care brand, we need to see your hair. And so because she has taken her fans on this journey of heat damage and color damage and trying to get her hair to grow back and trying all these different things, she even posts pictures and videos with her, like a shopping bag, using it as a cap for like deep conditioner. These are all the things that we would do at home, right? She's very personable and she takes us on this journey of doing the same things that we be trying in our own kitchen. So her launching a hair care brand makes total sense because it comes across as an extension of her personal brand. So one of the biggest lessons we can learn is, one, be your authentic self. Authenticity sells. No one is into, I won't say no one, but most people these days are not into like this aspirational life, people feeling like they're untouchable. If they're gonna buy from you, spend their hard-earned money, most likely they're not just buying your brand, but they're buying into you. So you also want to create a relationship with your audience before you launch your products, right? It's all about storytelling. So one of the things Cardi B did was she's always going to show up as herself. The girl from New York, she feels like the homie that if you grew up in New York, that's somebody that you know, right? But two, she took her fans on the journey. So it wasn't like, oh, one day she said, hey, I have long hair, I'm going to sell you a hair care line. She's talking about her struggles. She's talking about trying different things. She's talking about being in the lab, trying to put things together. She has built a relationship with her audience. So when she drops this brand, it's like, oh, we've watched her basically build up to this point. I think about like Tracee Ellis Ross and influencer Jackie Aina. Tracee Ellis Ross, we've seen her natural hair since she was on Girlfriends. That was early 2000s. Not only have we seen that, but she's talked about her hair struggles and heat damage and things that she's done in the past. She takes us inside look when she goes on vacations. It's lifestyle. She talks about how she takes care of herself as a single woman, right? It's all about self-love, self-care, and loving who you are and loving the skin that you're in. So when she launches a hair care line, and then of course now she's extended it to Pattern Body, it makes sense. It feels like an extension of Tracee Ellis Ross. You have influencer Jackie Aina. She's been in the business 15 years, but one thing she always loved is her fragrances, right? You'll see videos of her and she'll show you this cabinet, or I guess a shelf of like all these different fragrances. I don't even know how many she has, but that's been part of her brand. So when she launched Forever Mood, it made sense. It was an extension of her brand. I also think about Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown named her hair Donna, right? When she's doing these videos, she was doing these cooking videos, but she also always had Donna. Her hair was in the scene. She talks about Donna. So when she does Donna's recipe as a hair care line, it's just an extension of her brand. So Cardi B and all of the people that I've named have used storytelling and bringing their fans and their audience on a journey with them to get to know them. So when they launch a product, it doesn't feel like they're just selling them something because they just want them to buy it. It feels like they're launching something because it's an extension of them. They understand their audience's pain points because they were going through the same thing, and they created something to solve a problem that they have that they know other people also have. So when you're building your brand, you want to be authentic, you want to lean into storytelling, and you want to take your audience on the journey with you before you launch. Our final topic is Issa Rae and TikTok. Now, Issa Rae is not new to the digital space. We were first introduced to her with Aqua Black on YouTube. She has a media and production company. She has produced a lot of digital content, but she and TikTok are doing something different. They are partnering together through her company, Hooray Media, to create micro series for TikTok exclusively. According to Dawn Yang, the global head of entertainment partnerships at TikTok, the company is building a new model for micro-series, pairing creator-led storytelling with scale distribution to reach audiences faster than ever. And so when I heard of this, I thought of two things. One, you always have to find ways to adapt in your business. You don't have to necessarily abandon your business, but as the market changes, you want to think about ways on how you can evolve. Issa Rae has done film, television, music. She did digital content in the YouTube space, but it is no secret that TikTok is still a major platform. Even though the ownership changed, it's still a major platform, and is a platform used largely by Gen Z. So it would make sense like, hey, let's create a new lane when it comes to digital content, which means it's going to be a cinematic viewing. We're going to have that high quality videos, but it's going to be micro series, which makes me wonder, I'm curious how long these videos are going to be with the micro series, because is it 10 minutes, 5 minutes for each video? I'd be curious. The second thing is you have to meet your audience where they are. Short form content isn't going anywhere. People still will sit and scroll and scroll. And you know, you've been on TikTok, you've been on Instagram, you watch one video and then you go down a rabbit hole and you look up, all of a sudden you've been online for shamelessly for like 2-3 hours, right? It's not going anywhere. So while long form content is still very popular on platforms like YouTube, right? People still are on these apps. So it's one of those, you got to meet them where they are and try something new and different. So I'm interested to see how these micro videos play out on TikTok. It's also a great opportunity for creators to get into storytelling. Yes, it's going to be backed by TikTok and Issa Rae's company, but it is a great opportunity for writers, producers to get their names out there, right, on these platforms if they don't have the opportunity to be on larger platforms like a Netflix or a Hulu or Peacock, right? Starting on a smaller platform like this that still gets a lot of eyes on it is a great way to get your name out there and get in front of an audience that may not be familiar with your work before. Issa Rae is launching the first micro series coming out later in April called Screen Time. I have seen the trailer, so I am curious to see how these videos are gonna roll out. Let me know if you guys will be watching these micro series once they launch on TikTok platform. So those are the 3 topics I wanted to cover today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What did you think about these 3 topics and the business takeaways? And let me know if there's some takeaways that I missed. Those are the lessons that came to mind when I just heard these stories. But if there's some other lessons that you think we should know about and we should be aware of, drop them in the comments. I appreciate you guys for tuning in this episode, and I will see you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe to the Kickback with Keri newsletter.